In the quiet town of Cactus, Texas, ICN migrants like Nicole and Eden Omentor are facing a new wave of fear and uncertainty. Both work long hours at JBS meat packing plant, home to 3,700 workers, many of them immigrants. CBP1 has sent out a message to everyone in this program to leave within the next 7 days. If I don't do so, they will deport me, or I will have to pay a fine. I don't commit crimes when I come into this country. The Biden-era immigration parole program allowed hundreds of thousands from Haiti, Cuba, Nicaragua, and Venezuela to enter legally. But recent actions under Donald Trump's renewed crackdown have thrown those protections into question. I don't steal, I pay my bills, I follow all the rules, I respect the laws of this country, but I don't commit any crimes. But they are planning to take away my work permit. Although a federal judge has temporarily blocked enforcement of deportation notices, many like Nicole still live in fear of losing their jobs, homes, and work permits. You would consider going back to Haiti. The country is currently in a bad situation. You can't make a decision. You have no choice. You have no idea what you should do. For these workers, the uncertainty is not just legal, it's existential. With no clear path forward and no safe way back, their futures hang in limbo.
After years of trial runs and setbacks, Aurora says its first fully autonomous semi-truck has hit public highways in the Lone Star State. The company announcing Thursday the self-driving semi is making deliveries between Dallas and Houston and has completed roughly 12,000 miles so far. The Aurora CEO says he tagged along in the back seat for the truck's maiden ride. He called the experience the honor of a lifetime, adding in a statement, "We founded Aurora to deliver benefits of self-driving technology quickly and broadly. Now we are the first company to successfully and safely operate a commercial driverless trucking service on public roads." The truck features sensors capable of tracking the length of 4 football fields and employs a high-tech computer system. The company says it's currently operating a single autonomous truck for deliveries, but plans to add more later this year. Aurora believes its new technology will be a solution to a current shortage of truckers and high turnover rates, as well as rising costs of operation. The company says it could also reduce labor costs and improve safety on highways. After 4 years of supervised testing, the company delivered more than 10,000 loads to customers across roughly 3 million miles with its autonomous vehicles. The breakthrough comes amid setbacks implementing driverless trucks on the open road. They were once thought to be introduced before robo-taxis and autonomous private vehicles, given the open nature of highways as opposed to city and residential streets. Aurora anticipated rolling out its new autonomous trucks last year, but delayed the deployment to this year, citing a need to update its self-driving system for surface street driving and construction sites. The industry has faced obstacles in terms of technology setbacks and regulations. Public opinion polls showed nearly 70% of Americans are afraid of self-driving cars in the wake of some high-profile incidents involving companies like Tesla and Cruise. Cruise faced legal trouble after one of its robo-taxis hit and injured a woman in San Francisco in 2023. Self-driving semis also face obstacles from regulations, but these barriers appear to be easing. California regulators are currently considering a proposal allowing autonomous large pickup trucks of more than 10,000 pounds to be tested on public roads. The California Department of Motor Vehicles says self-driving trucks fitting this criteria are already being tested in states like Texas, Arizona, and Arkansas. The proposed rules are now in a public comment period ending in June. Currently, California is the only state banning self-driving heavy-duty trucks. The new proposal is reportedly likely to face opposition from safety advocates and labor unions for commercial truck drivers who are worried about job loss due to semi-automation, and they also raise concerns over the technology's risk to public safety. California lawmakers passed legislation in 2023 mandating people aboard self-driving semi-trucks, but the bill was vetoed by Governor Newsom. He justified his veto, saying more regulation was not necessary because existing rules for self-driving vehicles were adequate. The Teamsters Union supported the bill. Companies like Aurora often use states like Texas and California for testing autonomous technology. California-based autonomous trucking company Gatik currently completes short-haul deliveries for major retailers, such as Walmart.
Within hours of issuing a tsunami warning and evacuation orders for coastal areas after a 7.5 magnitude earthquake struck the Drake Passage, the Chilean authorities lifted the evacuation order while adding that fishing was suspended until further notice. The Drake Passage is the body of water that separates South America and Antarctica. Chilean President Gabriel Boric echoed the call for the evacuation of the coastline throughout the Magallanes region on his X account. The U.S. Geological Survey said that the quake struck at a shallow depth of 10 kilometers. The offshore tremors caused a massive tsunami scare in the south of Chile and Argentina on Friday. These are the visuals of the residents gathered at the evacuation points in Punta Arenas. This after Chilean authorities issued a tsunami warning for the country's southernmost region. Well, the epicenter was 219 kilometers from the Argentinian city of Ushuaia and the Chilean town of Puerto Williams. The earthquake struck at 9:58 a.m. local time. Several smaller aftershocks were also recorded. Situated at the southern tip of South America, the Magallanes region is Chile's second largest, but sparsely populated. Chile is one of the countries most affected by earthquakes. 3 tectonic plates converge within its territory: the Nazca, the South American, and the Antarctic plates. In 1960, the southern city of Valdivia was devastated by a magnitude 9.5 earthquake, considered the most powerful ever recorded, that killed 9,500 people. In 2010, an 8.8 magnitude quake off the coast of central Chile triggered a tsunami, leaving over 520 dead.
Just days after striking a deal with Ukraine involving rare earth minerals, the Trump administration appeared to make a major announcement when it comes to diplomacy and the president's vow to end the Russia-Ukraine war quickly. The U.S. will no longer engage in what is often referred to as shuttle diplomacy. State Department spokeswoman Tammy Bruce said Thursday the U.S. will not be the mediators in these negotiations.
And the secretary has also made it very clear that while our style will change, the methodology of how we contribute to this will change, in that we will not be the mediators. That is what I mentioned on Tuesday, and the nature of how this would change is we certainly were still committed to it and will help and do what we can, but we are not going to fly around the world at the drop of a hat to mediate meetings. That it is now between the two parties, and now is the time that they need to present and develop concrete ideas about how this conflict is going to end. It's going to be up to them.
Last month, Secretary of State Marco Rubio had warned that the United States was not going to continue this endeavor for weeks and months on end, and that the U.S. would do what it can on the margins and will help whenever the two countries are ready to have peace. Thursday night on Fox News, Rubio told host Sean Hannity, "This is not our war."
Not that a war in Ukraine is not important, but I would say what's happening with China is more important in the long term for the future of the world.
As for the minerals deal, the Kyiv Post reports the Trump administration told Congress it intends to send $50 million worth of defense-related goods to Ukraine. In this case, the State Department would allow an American company to sell defense equipment directly to a foreign buyer without going through the Pentagon's Foreign Military Sales Program. Newsweek reports that between 2015 and 2023, the U.S. okayed the direct sale of more than $1.6 billion worth of defense goods to Ukraine, including more than $232 million in ammunition, according to the State Department. The minerals deal calls for the United States and Ukraine to share the proceeds of sales of titanium, uranium, lithium, and copper. Those minerals are used in the defense, energy, and technology industries. A joint fund would be divided 50-50 between the two countries, with some of the money going to the reconstruction of war-decimated Ukraine. The deal does not contain any language of debt obligations that the country owes the United States for its financial and weapons support during the war with Russia. The Trump administration has called the minerals deal historic, as it looks for financial security guarantees from Ukraine as peace negotiations to end the war drag on.